Hello, everybody, and welcome to ZoomZoomers once again during the UK lockdown. And a second round of lockdown announcements has just happened. So, although these have been happening less frequently than before, we're still all ready and waiting to talk you through the UK lockdown. I've got some participants already waiting in the waiting room, so I'm just going to let those guys in now. People will be entering the waiting room for the next few minutes, so they won't all join at once, but we'll see who we've got tonight. And more people will be joining as the night goes on as well. So hopefully some people out there can hear me. I can see a few familiar faces coming up already, which is fantastic. Alan, can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine, Damien.
Good to know. Good to know. It's not just me that's having some technical issues at the moment, but I think everything's okay. It seems to be live on YouTube, which for anyone who tried to join 4 weeks ago for the last month's ZoomZoomers, that didn't actually work, but I think we've managed to make it work this time. So before we let even more people in, I'm just going to go through the people on my screen now, if that's okay, in the usual way. So if I could just ask you your name and your Twitter handle, might as well start with Alan.
Hi there, I'm Alan Bradley. I'm a presenter of the Motoring Podcast, and my Twitter handle is @AJPBradley. That's BRADLEY.
Fantastic. Thanks, Alan. Craig.
Hello, I'm Craig Woollard, a freelance motorsport journalist and historian, and I'm @Craig_Woollard.
Brilliant. Thanks for that. Simon.
Hello, I'm Simon Browse. I'm a vintage car restorer in Essex, and my Twitter handle is Cy_Browse.
Fantastic. Thanks very much. Naomi.
Naomi Panter, @Naomi Panter on Twitter. I'm the co-founder of a motorsport consultancy called Navigate Partners.
Lovely. It's very well lit there, Naomi, as well, I have to say. It's a different vibe now because obviously it's sort of winter now over here. Near, it's always dark. Sorry?
We've got a pumpkin set in the atmosphere.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, very cool.
Clicky skulls. I got the whole lot going on here.
I did make a pumpkin, but there was no trick or treaters. I stuck some lollipops in it, and it ended up looking a bit like the coronavirus. But anyway, Near.
Near Kahn. I'm a vehicle designer, and on Twitter you'll find me at @near_Kahn.
Lovely, fantastic, thank you. Ben.
Ben Hodges. I'm deputy editor of Carby, and my Twitter handle is @BenSVHodges.
Excellent. Richard.
Hello, I'm Rich Gooding. I'm a freelance motor writer and graphic designer, and on Twitter I am @RichGoodingCom.
Fantastic, thank you very much. Ian.
Hi, Ian Cook, pop band killer, painter and creative.
Oh, okay, I like that. Joe.
Joe Tanner, @Stuff About Cars, and I'm a spreadsheet guru for a car manufacturer.
Excellent. Some government advice needed right now, Joe. Brilliant. Rob.
Yeah, sorry, I've missed the halfway. I've missed the start of it.
Well, that sounds like your third race at Snetterton, but we'll get onto that later. But can I take your name and your Twitter handle, please, Rob?
I am Rob Welham, and Rob Welham Racing. That is literally it, actually.
Thank you.
Rob Welham Racing is Twitter.
And Cammie.
Cammie Racing. That's about it.
That's about it, yeah.
I'm just taking Rob's lead.
Yeah, why not? Hey, yeah, Rob, we'll have a bit of a chat about Snetterton. But actually, before we do that, the lockdown. Let's just cover this off, because does that mean your season's over now? Because for anyone who doesn't know, Rob races in F1000, and it was obviously a truncated season this year because of the COVID restrictions. It finally got going. I had 4 race weekends, and there's been 3 of those, but I guess Silverstone's off the cards now.
Yeah, I'm assuming. I think, obviously, Caroline's told me. I think Silverstone is off the cards, which is unfortunate because I've only actually run one full race meeting this year, which, well, it was a good one, but obviously it's not the point. Like, obviously you wanted obviously Silverstone's a good track for me as well, so hopefully that would have ended on a high. But it's a shame, but we'll go harder next year. So
yeah. No, that's good to hear. It's good to hear. At least you got the engine problem sorted, which sort of set you back a bit during the start of the year, didn't they? Cammie, have people flocked back online? Have you seen a lot of people going on to e-racing again?
Yeah, it's been pretty healthy. Numbers are pretty healthy. iRacing's still having its best year ever. I think sort of 4 times the numbers that they'd seen this time last year.
Wow, has the standard gone up? Have you noticed that
No.
now that there are more people? No, so it's easy for you guys who've got been there for a while. It's
probably balanced itself out. In fairness, with so many people coming on, there's probably an equal amount of brilliant and maybe slightly, how to politely say it, slightly inept drivers, maybe, or
okay.
But I guess there's some just by high street equipment that's not maybe ideally suited to iRacing. They might be struggling a bit.
Gotcha. I can see LA. I don't know if you can hear us, LA. If so, could you let us know your name and your Twitter handle, please?
Yeah. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it's LA, and my Twitter handle is at @1_LA.
Excellent.
Gosh,
And
it's been about 2 months since I said that out loud. I almost forgot.
Yeah, I know you missed the last one, didn't you? But you said for this one you're not going to stray too far away from your iPad. So I guess you're on your iPad right now.
Yes, I am. Yes, so I've usually on my MacBook Pro, but I'm not on it tonight, so I don't know how to change my name on this.
Oh, that's all right. Don't worry. But can you only see a few of us? Because there's a decent turnout tonight, but you could probably only see about 9.
I'm not put it on gallery yet. Give us a sec.
Oh, okay.
Takes me a while to figure this stuff out, and then you can flick around between people anyway. So I'm just going to have to keep messing around with. But I'll be doing this a lot.
Okay, we'll get that. If we see that, we know what's going on. Ian has a pet. Let's talk about Ian's pet. What's happened there?
It's Havana, the cat. The movie cat.
Havana, was it?
Havana, yeah. Havana, the cat.
Very nice. Is it your cat? Or have you just found it?
Oh, yeah, no, it's a random cat. Yeah, just rented it for this Zoom, so it was more homely. So no, we used to have Mog and Havana, but Mog don't know where he went. He just left us one day, so we've got Havana still. So.
Oh, that's good. So let's talk about how things have been going for you then, because there was a glimmer of hope when restrictions were lifted, and I guess you've been doing some events out in the real world with the public, and has that all now come to a standstill?
Briefly. It was Well, I built the mobile studio, so I've been taking continuous car on the road. So I've literally just come back from Caffeine and Machine, having done a podcast for the Driven Chat podcast. So.
Right.
Went and drove over there, did a drawing, and kind of did it in the car park, and it looked pretty good. So it works. The mobile studio, creating the continuous car. I like it. It's cozy.
Yeah.
It's cozy.
I was going to say, it's not the largest car. It's not like you've got a camper van or anything to do it in. What car is it again? A Suzuki or something?
It's a Chevrolet Spark. So it's one of the original press fleet from when Craig Cheatham was at Chevrolet. So yeah, it's the most ridiculous car to do it in, but for some reason it works. And it didn't. I had the car ready. I haven't had to buy a car to do it in. We've done it in that, and tomorrow it gets some more lights on it, hopefully. And then I'm gonna work in it during the next lockdown. I'm gonna put it in the garage, and I'm gonna work in the garage in the car. So that's
excellent. Sounds good to me. So Alan, how's the podcasting going? I guess it is still every week, and still plenty to talk about.
Yeah. Well, all the usual. Well, to be honest, the last couple of weeks have been a wee bit trickier. Actually, it was almost dead last week because everybody's been launching stuff, so they've not been putting out press releases about news. They've all been actually just trying to have as many events as they possibly can, which turned out to be just as well, really. Yeah,
I've seen a few virtual launches as well. I think Polestar sent out some boxes of treats for people and that kind of thing. So we'll see what happens in the coming weeks. Have you got any special edition podcasts coming up, or?
There's a bunch of stuff. There's a couple of press car ones coming out, a Suzuki and Mercedes van. And then I am at the GR Yaris launch on Friday.
I see.
So that's going to be a painful and potentially very expensive day. But yeah, so that's coming up, and there's some other stuff. So there's my other motor and stuff. We'll get the special edition treatment.
Excellent. Look forward to seeing that. And Simon, let's talk about your classic cars at the moment, because I'm not sure if winter's usually a bit more of a quiet period for you anyway. But has the recent announcement really knocked things on the head? Or
Yeah, it's not to a great degree, but this time last year was incredibly busy for both film and TV and wedding work, which is the sort of the bread and butter. But obviously we've had a very challenging year this year anyway. There's been lots. We've postponed 192 weddings now over to next year.
Wow.
It's it's a big it's a quite a number, quite a bit of admin there, quite a bit of admin. But we only had about 20 left for this month, and I've now been spending all day on the phone and the emails reorganizing things. Obviously that does change, there'll be lots of people out there, and are lots of people that just want to do that for another time. But at the same token, I've had 4 emails asking for quotes to do a couple of TV advert and a couple of music videos. So on the other side of things, lots of people still want to make content in the preparation of when we come out of lockdown. So it's twos and fro's, but it will give me some more time to sort out some bits that I do need to keep up with on the cars, because they don't repair and restore themselves, unfortunately, unless we watch Christine, in which case they do fix themselves overnight and kill people.
Yeah. Are you a guy to really get your hands dirty as well, or do you have a team of people that...
No, it's me. Unfortunately, it is me. Yeah. So no, I do absolutely everything top to bottom, other than kind of paint and body. I've got a specialist that handles that for me. But no full engine rebuilds, interior, woodwork. Especially quite a few of the cars I've got are wood everywhere. Everything top to bottom is me. I spend no time in them and all my time under them. That's what happens.
Fair enough. The joys of these kind of businesses, you do it for passion and end up letting everyone else play with them. So no worries. Naomi, so Navigate Partners, let's have a quick catch up about Navigate. How's that all going? Because we do see it pop up quite a lot nowadays.
Yeah, it's going really well, thanks. Yeah, it's really exciting. I think I said before, it's quite nice for most of us here who work for ourselves. It's quite nice to have something that you're building yourself and feels worth it when you're putting the time in and everything. But yeah, it's going great. Some new clients, which is great, and a new director has joined us now. So yeah, it's going well.
It's going well, fantastic. And we see that Praga, one of your clients, won the brick car race recently as well. So it's easy to talk about with clients when they're winning races.
It's a cool
Good stuff.
It's a cool client. That Praga car, for anyone who's seen the Praga R1, looks like an absolute spaceship. It's like a cross between a prototype and a GT. It's an amazing looking thing. So yeah, blitzed it in brick car over the weekend, which was super cool.
Super cool. A lot better than the Robo race recently, which had this steering lock. I don't know if you guys have all seen the footage of the Robo race car where it was trying to turn left, but its steering had locked right, and therefore it just ploughed into a wall. Slightly embarrassing, but lessons learnt all round. Great stuff. So Ben, how are things going out at Car Buyer?
Yeah, pretty well. Some of you may have seen we've got a brand new website, so we've kind of been doing a lot of work surrounding that. Filming is ongoing, so I guess it's just we're like everybody else in the industry. We're just waiting to find out if we can still go outside or not.
Fair enough. So you're still doing car reviews, getting cars from press fleets and able to test cars. And is that going to be video as well as writing for magazines and online?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
any really cool stuff? Any cool stuff recently that you've been able to get your hands on?
No, just all fairly normal stuff. Peugeot 2008, Honda Jazz, usual stuff like that.
Usual stuff. All right. It's still a lot more exciting than cars used to be, I'm sure. Richard, anything for you? Because you're often having usually an electric vehicle delivered nowadays to you. Your house.
I've just done 3. I've done Peugeot E208, Vauxhall Corsa E, and DS3 Crossback E10, which was interesting.
Oh.
They were all consecutive. I've had a Zoe van delivered this morning, which is here till Wednesday, which is basically a Zoe with no back seats and a mesh bulkhead. And a Yaris hybrid is due to come on Wednesday. There's been no notice of cancellation yet.
Right.
They'll be going to an event on Thursday, but again, that's not been cancelled yet, but we'll see.
We'll see. Are you kind of expecting it to be
yeah, I think so. I mean, it was quite a small event anyway, so I think it would have been quite safe, but with the fact we're not supposed to be going very far anyway.
Yeah, it's kind of an unnecessary risk, I guess, at this point. I'm sure you'll get round to to testing that at some point. Have you had plenty to get your hands on over the last few weeks though? Have you been able to actually get some tests in?
Yeah. So that's all been quite good. I think it depends on manufacturers. Some I've heard are cancelling press loans left, right, and centre.
Right.
And some did over the weekend, and others don't see it as too bad a risk, so they're carrying on. But I think it's very manufacturer dependent.
Gotcha. So, Nia, how's the situation over there? Because for anyone who's new to ZoomZoomers, obviously you're not in the UK or anywhere near the UK. You're on the Mediterranean coast, which is lovely. But we've just had a second lockdown. Well, it's going through Parliament at the moment, but it will happen from Thursday. How are things your end though?
We've just come out of our second lockdown. So
okay.
I'm still not quite sure if we're behind you or in front of you. I really don't think it matters anymore. I was just talking to my mum, who's getting her hair cut in London on Wednesday, because from Thursday she can't, and most of my family had their hair cut today because the hairdresser just opened yesterday. So we're coming out of lockdown. My work anyway is considered to be essential work. So I mean, I've been going to work. I haven't been working from home much at all.
Yeah.
What I have done today, though, is a virtual conference. I often travel and talk at these lightweight conferences about automotive lightweight materials and composites and stuff. Normally it's the whole jolly of going overseas to do it, and this time I had to do it on Zoom.
Yeah.
And it was surprisingly difficult. It was a little awkward.
There's no audience.
There's no feedback.
Banter. There's no feedback. Even if you say something, you wait for the chuckle. It doesn't happen. Yeah.
Nothing at all. It's like practicing in front of the mirror, only live on the internet. So it was really quite hard. I wasn't expecting it to be that difficult. I wasn't expecting it to be harder than standing in front of a great big room full of intelligent people and trying to tell them something, which is nerve-wracking generally. But having to do it with no audience feedback, no visual feedback, which was quite tricky.
I get you don't even know if the feed has gone down, if people are still listening, are they switched off? And I've done a few training sessions for brands recently, and one of them had 40 odd people on it, and it was quite the same, where normally you'd chat to the audience. This is a lot better though, because I can see all your faces, and this is a lot better. Joe, now you've been driving a Vauxhall Corsa E. Those of us who watch Top Gear probably saw one of those on Top Gear last night. How's it going for you?
Yeah, it's good. I don't get to drive very much because my wife drives it to work, and I sit in this room all day playing with spreadsheets.
Right.
But when I do drive it, I do enjoy it. Yeah, it's good fun.
Good fun.
Yeah.
Excellent. And how's your work at the moment? Because you said you work for a big car brand. Are you able to continue doing that during the lockdown? Or?
Yeah, so we're planning what the market looks like for the next month. Obviously, the lockdown is pretty much happening at the start of the month, so we've got a whole month to that we need to plan, figure out what the market's doing, what we can do, how we can work within the regulations and be safe and still try and sell cars. And if there are any bright ideas out there, amongst the team of what we can do to do something different from everybody else. Obviously, I won't give any of those away at this point. But it's very interesting, And obviously, we got data points from previous lockdowns, but this one is different. It doesn't cover the whole country. Showrooms will be closed, but click and collect works, and manufacturers will have figured out how that works. So that'll be a bit more established than before. So, yeah, interesting one.
It is an interesting one. Yeah. And I suppose the same sort of question to Craig there, because I know, Craig, you would normally be thumbing through 100-year-old photo slides and things like that, which you can't really do from home, but you've still managed to keep yourself busy over the last 6 months doing other things, haven't you?
Yeah, and it will be a case of trying to do what we can in the next month, and like we're spending this week preparing ourselves for the impending apocalypse, if you will. So it's just a lot of things that we're going to have to be able to try and find to do from home. So not a lot of scanning, but a lot of other boring bits like creating all events on the website and little boring things like that. So things like that, and then like all the little side things that I do. Obviously, a lot of that's still going on at the moment. Thankfully, a lot of seasons are coming to an end, so there's a lot of season review stuff to do. A lot of drivers to try and collar virtually, obviously, and get decent chats with them, and a lot of writing to do.
Yeah, indeed, and a lot of the writing you do is about the lower formulae that support the Formula One package, and as well as the output that you put out there, LA as well is part of that as well. And we see that she's just, although people watching on YouTube might not see this, but she's also labelled at F2 inside on the on her Zoom there. So, do you want to talk us a little bit through that, LA? About your F2 work?
Yeah, so it's a new Formula 2 platform since about March this year it was launched, and there was sort of a handful of us at the beginning, and dedicated to Formula 2 with associated, obviously we can chat about Formula 3 and Formula 1. Just done a great series on graduates of Formula 2. So we've managed to get some big name articles in there on Lewis Hamilton and Perez, and the likes. And I've just got one pending now on Jules Bianchi as well, which will be nice when that's brought out. So it's mostly at the moment articles, features, but race reports. We've gone into live blogging now for the races that I've been a little bit involved in. We're trying to take a couple of different angles, new angles, using social media, something a bit different to the normal websites. We've sort of made a few people up their game, really, which has been quite interesting. We're either all competition or we're all useful to somebody, which is something that I'm kind of hoping might happen for me, so I might end up being a bit more useful to other platforms, which will be great for me personally, because as some of you know, I've sort of been fighting some disabilities for a couple of years, and I'm really striving to I'll never be cured of what my conditions are, but I'm really striving to get back to work next year, hopefully. So I'm using this platform to test my skills, really, and to see if I'm good enough and if I can handle it, and if I'm ready to come out of my bedroom and go into the real world. So.
Yeah, we'll certainly be rooting for you. I know that when Inside F2 came along, it kind of put a bit of pressure on the official Formula 2 in terms of race reports and that kind of thing, and there was a bit of a friendly rivalry between the unofficial and the official to try and get this stuff out quickly. So that was a good fun thing to be part of.
It still is. You have to tune into the last couple of races and see who gets the reports out quicker.
The ultimate race in Formula 2 is actually between you guys and the official Formula 2 channel. But before we talk too much about motorsport, because we'll come on to that in a bit. Obviously, Rob's here. Craig, we can't miss the fact that we have a motorsport historian, and one of the big records has just been broken. So we'll talk about motorsport in a bit, but we do have a guest in the wings, so I'm just going to admit the guest. So a lot of you guys will know our guest today. A lot of you will have worked with him. A lot of you will consider him a friend. So just wait for that to connect. For anyone who's watching along, hopefully they'll know of Jonny Smith. He's currently connecting to audio, and sometimes that takes a few minutes, so we'll just wait for that to happen. In the meantime, Simon, you were saying on previous ZoomZoomers about what a hard worker Jonny is, and what a valuable guest he would be on ZoomZoomers. So you're kind of partly to blame for this one. Thank
you very much. Yeah, well, I won't enlarge his head any more than it needs to be, which is already too big. No, I'm very lucky I'm very proud to call him a really close friend. We've known each other for a long time. We work together, and hopefully we'll always probably continue to work together. He and his family are some of the most hardest working, focused people I've really ever met or heard of. He puts everything into everything he does, works incredibly late nights, on video editing and making notes for himself for shoots the following day. And he's a bit talented. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to. He's had enough. If he's listening, he's had enough. But, no. He's a talented guy.
He's a talented guy. Now, he may well be connected to audio, but not the camera at the moment. So, Jonny, if you can hear us, could you just let us know? Although you seem to have just popped yourself on mute there. Yeah, we'll give him a few minutes while I think he's trying to connect, but we'll come back to him in just a moment. So, when we've got Jonny on board, we're going to try and do a trackday own scrap for him as well. So, anyone else here who hasn't done trackday own scrap, I think you've all done it by now, haven't you? Nobody hasn't done it. No, we'll have a look at that in a bit as well, and we'll also be looking at the recent Formula One race, because actually we'll cover that while Jonny's trying to connect. So Craig, I'm going to throw it to you because you are our historian. Just briefly while Jonny's connecting, how many races then do you think Lewis is going to end up winning in his career?
Depends how long he goes, to be honest. I mean, if he goes for another 1 year, he's going to hit 100. If he goes for another 2 years, he'll hit 110 something. If he goes for another 3 years, it'll be 120 something, I reckon.
Yeah, you think he's just that relentless that he could just, as long as he's there, he's going to end up winning races. So it's just as far as he wants to go. I know there's some discussions about, well, I don't know if they're toying with us or if it's all about money or what it's all about, whether he fancies another challenge. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if he sticks around much longer. I don't know what his incentives are, really. What do you feel about that? Do you think he's got much motivation at the moment to try and smash all these records? Or
well, I don't think there are many records left for him to break, other than obviously the big one, 7 championships, which is going to equal in either next race or the race after. There aren't too many more that he can really go for. He can tie things like highest percentage of podiums in a season, things like that. But there aren't too many more that he can actually go and break, unless he gets a time machine and goes back a few years, and then he can go for reclaim the youngest champion record that stole from him. But there aren't too many more things that he can really achieve on the track. It's more his what he can achieve off the track.
Yeah, sorry, Jonny.
Well,
we just
his rap career. Surely it's his rap career next. That's the one that everyone's waiting for, isn't it?
Yeah. In the same way that Villeneuve released an album, and that did really well, didn't it? But I think
did he?
Haven't you heard about
it?
This?
Was it like acoustic? It was guitar-y, weren't it?
Yeah, he even got his sister to appear in one of the songs.
Did he really? I mean, you are Jacques Villeneuve's super fan. I think you stalked him and launched yourself on him at one point. So have you got the album?
Actually, no, I never bought it.
Even you didn't buy the album.
I didn't. There was probably a really good reason why. I was probably traveling the world and didn't have the facility to have a CD in my bag at the time. Yeah, I was a huge fan. I don't know. I just got obsessed with the guy and thought I was going to marry him and have his children, and tried to dream up every scenario I could of whatever race I could be at. And then a couple of the races that I was at, he ended up not driving. That he had a year out, didn't he? And he ended up not driving that year. I was like, gutted.
All your plans ruined on the fact that he just wanted a break. Now, Jonny,
my whole future children and
I thought Villeneuve's girlfriend Danny Minogue at the time left him because he played on a PS1 too much. That's one of the only things I remember about him.
Yeah, I was led to understand, that he wasn't giving her very much attention because he was playing games.
He was playing games, the wrong kind of games.
Indeed, I think a few relationships have broken down like that. So, Jonny, while you're here, I assume you can hear us okay, and you're obviously connected now. If you could just let people know who.
Yeah, sorry, I'm on my phone. I wanted to be on my computer, but my computer wouldn't talk to Zoom, so I'm on my phone.
That's fine.
Not ideal. Sorry.
That's fine. Can you see everybody?
But I can hear you.
See a few people. You can see us.
I can see whoever's whoever's talking to me. I don't know how to bring up everybody. I'm not that intelligent, unfortunately.
The 21st century's passing you by, really, isn't it? You're more of a Detroit muscle man, really. Aren't you? If we could find, a Zoom based on an LV8. But yeah, if you
could we do a Casio version? Sort of a bit of technology.
Yeah, we could try that. You are breaking up a little bit, so bear with us if we ask you to repeat something here, Jonny. But if you could just let people know who have just joined us, your name and if possible your Twitter handle as well, please, just to kind of let people know who you are.
My name is Jonny Smith, and I'm a motoring journalist and YouTube person. And my Twitter handle is @carpervert, and my Instagram handle is @JonnyCarpervert.
Excellent. Now the car pervert thing's gone through a bit of a rebrand at the moment, isn't it? It's going to your YouTube channel is now is it the Late Break Show?
The Late Break Show. Yeah, we changed the name about 5 weeks ago in the name of commercialization, Damien.
Was it holding you back somewhat?
Well, I don't know. It's hard to say. It's done really well given the circumstances that this year is, and I chose this year to start taking YouTube seriously. But I think it's mostly Americans who are a little bit afraid of the term car pervert, maybe not fully understanding the jokey implications. But nevertheless, yes, we decided to change things a little bit and be a bit more ambitious. So, and it's not like I had anything else to do, honest.
Well, you seem to have other projects on the go all the time. I think we all acknowledge that you're one of the hardest working people that we know. So tell us a bit more about how Smith and Sniff is going for a start.
Well, Smith and Sniff, with Rich Porter, the script editor from was Top Gear, now the Grand Tour. It's going all right, actually. In fact, that might be one of the very few success stories of 2020 that our podcast seems to be doing quite well. So that's been fun. We used to do a video every week where we just sit in the car and chat and talk about cars and then lots of other horrible things. And then when lockdown happened the first time around, lockdown 1, not 2, we said, well, we can't meet, so let's just try a podcast. My wife, meanwhile, has been saying for about the last 2 years, this should just be a podcast. You don't need to make a video. And we were like, yeah, well, we'll just do a video. And of course, it's actually more successful as a podcast. So that's where it is now.
Damn right, okay. Well.
Sorry,
yeah, it is a lot quicker. It's cheaper and quicker to make. That's true. Yeah.
That's been my excuse for the last 5 years anyway.
So
it's
you're
good to see you. I can't see everybody, but it's good to see everyone.
Yeah,
I think I can see everybody. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm normally on my laptop doing this, but my laptop wouldn't let me access it, so I'm on my little phone. Hello,
no worries.
Everyone.
There's 14 of us here. Can you see all 14? Because some phones will only show a selection of people. Can you see?
I go first 4, second 4, third 4. Wow, there's loads of people.
Yeah, if everyone wants to give Jonny a wave, that'd be good. Make sure we can all hear.
Oh, hello.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of us on there. You might recognise some faces.
Who let Simon in?
Yeah, well,
Simon in.
So do we all remember those lovely things I was just saying about Brian Smith down there? One thing I didn't mention was massive technophobe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a technophobe. I'm just a slow learner. I think there's a little bit of a difference. It's a little bit of a difference.
Put your Betamax away.
I have still got a video recorder, actually. I don't use it, but I've still got it. And I went through my video VHS tapes and I kept a select few just for the future for no good reason.
Did you find them in a caravan by chance?
No, but it was difficult to go through the videotapes and go, am I ever going to watch any? Which ones shall I keep? And I kept like The French Connection and Commando and The Running Man and some other rubbish ones. So one day I might. In fact, the next 4 weeks I might plug it and see if it works. Who knows?
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. If you got an old massive telly to go with it as well, like they'd wheel out at the end of term at school.
I did have. I got rid of it. I actually donated it to my my nana, and she loved it because it was an old Bang & Olufsen TV, and it was like a 2-man lift to carry it. Huge thing. And yeah, she loved it because they're quite loud speakers, and bless her, she started to get hard of hearing. So I bet her neighbours loved her.
Yeah.
Watching Emmerdale Farm at full whack or whatever. Yeah. But no, I don't have an old school TV. I've got some old school audio. That's all I have really. But yeah.
Fair enough. Now, while you're here, every guest that we have on ZoomZoomers has to do a challenge called the Trackday Own Scrap. So I'm going to be loading up a shared screen now, Jonny, and it's going to generate 3 cars for you. So as you could imagine from Trackday Own Scrap, you've got to pick 1 car to take on a track day, 1 car to own, and 1 car's got to go in the bin. So if everyone could give me a wave if they can see the Trackday Own Scrap wheel in front of them, there we go. Right, so obviously the pictures are quite small there, but they will get larger when I spin it. So we're going to spin it 3 times for you, Jonny, and we'll see what comes up. So your first one, if it's not clear, I'll say what it is anyway, because I know especially if you're watching on a phone, it might not be clear. So the first one that we've got coming up is the Mercedes 190e Cosworth.
Oh, nice.
The first one of your 3. So I'll remove that, spin again.
Dog leg first.
That's the one. Next one, similar era. I see these before you see them, you see. So we have a Corrado G60.
It's a G60. Okay.
It's the G60. Okay.
G60.
So we have the Mercedes 190 Cosworth and the Corrado G60. And we have a caterum of some sort. Probably I think this was about a 400. And so track day, own or scrap. This might actually be quite a simple one. But what do you think?
I think that might be a fairly simple one. If there was a commute to the shops in the rain, obviously the caterum would be the choice there.
Of course.
I think, track day for the caterum because that's what they live for.
Yeah.
Scrap is harsh, isn't it? Scrap's really harsh. I think, and that's a difficult one because I do like the Corrado, especially in that early 90s yellow. I would probably own the Cosworth 190 Mercedes because I've never owned one, and I came very close to buying one, and I probably should have bought it. And I don't know whether it would be underwhelming to own, but I'd like to try and own one. So I would make sure that the Corrado was beyond economical repair, and then I would scrap it.
Right.
And if it wasn't beyond economical repair, I would donate it to someone that would resurrect it. That's a tough one, though, Damien. That's tricky, man.
Some of these are quite simple. Some of them throw up some really, really tricky situations. But okay. Obviously, track day for the caterum. Bin the Volkswagen reluctantly.
Track day for the caterum.
But that's great.
Yeah, choice. Or I do track day for the Mercedes, and I do every day for the caterum, including children's school runs and everything.
Yeah.
And really long motorway journeys in winter in the night. And then And then that's not going to happen, is it?
No. I was lucky enough to experience the R400 at midnight during the Beast from the East in the Welsh mountains, and it was completely hopeless. But yeah, that was we were behind going to a film shoot. But enough about that. So
I was in the East when the Beast of the East came in. I was in Norfolk doing a shoot.
We'd swapped.
Yeah, we had.
Yeah,
I was at a wind farm and nearly took off. Yeah,
you were at a wind farm during the Beast of the East. Wow, this is why
I was.
Norfolk are such good farmers. We know what to farm when. So good to know. Hopefully, Jonny, I'm not sure if you've had a chance, but have you brought along a green thing and a red thing? Or if you look around now,
I've brought along something that's nearly red. I'm slightly colourblind, so I'm in my head. I'm going to call it red. So this is red.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this is green.
That's very green. Yep. Excellent.
It's totally
what
green,
I'll do now
right?
then, I'll ask a series of yes or no or agree, disagree things. So fairly simple. Everybody's done it before. Green if you agree or want to say yes, and red if you disagree or want to say no. So some of these will be relevant to cars, some won't be. But if everyone's got red and green to hand, go back. Actually, the first one is going back to what Craig and I were just talking about. Lewis Hamilton will reach 100 wins in Formula One. Appears to be overwhelmingly green. Yep, I think it's kind of just a matter of time for that one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. The next one. The new Ford Puma is a better car than the 1990s Ford Puma.
Better is a tricky word there.
Better is open to interpretation. We've got a couple of greens.
The old Ford Puma was my first car, and I don't like what they've done to the Puma now.
I adored the look of the old one.
Yeah.
The old Ford Puma gave me a concussion. So there you go.
There's a story there.
Did anyone here ever try the racing Puma?
I believe it gave you quite bad backache, but it was
it
good.
had like proper bucket seats.
Yeah. They're Cammie races for Ford on e-racing. So Fordzilla is her race team. So anything about Ford, she's going to say is brilliant. But you're actually saying that Ford Puma, the racing Puma, wasn't very good, Cammie?
No, the racing Puma was great. I'm not keen on the new Puma.
Oh,
It's
right,
not
okay.
a coupe anymore. They've made it a silly Nissan Juke thing.
But we don't want Ford to watch this one then. Okay.
Yeah.
No,
I think it's a good car. I do think the new Ford Puma is a good car. I think it's very odd when you take the name across to something that's a totally different genre. It's always going to sit awkwardly. Yeah. You know, they could have picked another cat. There's lots of other cats out there.
like Jaguar. No way.
Yeah.
No, they tried that. It didn't work.
Did anyone see that photo? I don't know who posted it. It might even have been you, Johnny, of a load of Pumas parked on a lawn in a housing estate. It's a load of original Pumas. Did anyone see it? I'll try and dig it out before the end of the thing.
Well, I don't think it was Johnny then. He seems a bit.
It was brilliant.
Before we move on,
to my house.
Rob, what was your red thing there? Was it a sock? Have you just basically got a sock puppet? Oh, okay. Very good.
You never help him. He wears the green one for the accelerator pedal, and he wears the red one to remind him which one's the brake pedal.
Oh, right. Okay.
Cammie knows.
Okay, Cammie knows. Cammie knows.
That's worse than something I found at the weekend. Hang on.
Is that Gordon the Gopher?
It's a Gordon the Gopher.
No, Rob, the question is, Rob, is are they clean?
No.
Okay, next question. New car interiors smell good.
Oh.
Now, I used to think so, but I've been suffering one for the last couple of weeks, and I've suddenly realised that I'm actually I'm waiting for it to go away.
Is it still in your throat?
Yeah, it's still there a bit.
Yeah.
To go away.
Yeah, okay. You're right, LA.
It's a
What's
funny
happening?
one, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, I'm fine. Sorry.
Is it because I said throat?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what she said.
Sorry, Near. Okay, next question. There should be another scrappage scheme.
Oh.
Well, where do we go with this?
Okay.
Quickfire. Hopefully into the skip. Well, I mean, I don't mean no. That's wrong. Hopefully the scheme goes in the skip.
Yeah, I got you. Okay,
What
Johnny's
was
gone
so
red.
bad about it? Is that one that was £2,000 for your car that was worth 50 quid?
Well, the cars weren't all worth 50 quid.
Yeah, but you lose a lot of examples of stuff.
I think what I'd like.
It's not just that. It's incredibly wasteful.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you know what I think? I think for the sake of the world economy, I might just go green now. But there's going to be a little bit of red in the background like that.
Yeah. There's pros and cons, of course. So, okay, next one.
It's a tough one.
It is a tough one, definitely. Ice cream is nicer than frozen yogurt. Oh, Rob's the only red so far. Rob's a frozen yogurt guy, is he?
Yeah, because in your lunchbox, you can put a frozen yogurt in, and then it keeps everything cold.
Ah, practical. This is why you get the spanners and
point.
stuff. Yeah, okay, Rob.
You can't keep ice cream in a lunchbox.
That's true. You can't keep an ice cream in a lunchbox. Okay, next one. mainly for people in the UK, but UK lockdowns will continue beyond the 3rd of December. Oh, everyone's thinking it's going to last a bit longer. I'm not sure if Johnny's frozen or he's just really scared because he's static on my screen there.
Hang on.
I think we're
Am I here now?
I can see you now. Yeah. You've gone green as well. Okay, cool. Okay, next one.
Yeah.
Brown cars will be the next trend.
When did they ever go out of fashion?
No.
Brown is the most underrated car color.
Wow, we have
world.
a mix.
No,
It won't be
sorry,
It
you're
kind
wrong
of
here.
is already.
It'll be
No,
a
it was-
copper, rusty, irony sort of thing. It won't be that 70s brown.
Yeah, be a different brown. Yeah.
Different
Oh,
brown.
no, I like MG mid brown, like real actual brown.
Russet brown. A bit British Leyland Dogs mess. Russet.
That's it.
It's-
So I told you my very first car was brown. I know, you know.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't like it.
So all cars are rubbish that are brown.
my dream Porsche color is macadamia nut metallic, which is the best Porsche color ever. I think.
Totally agree.
If I one day can afford a 911, it will be in macadamia nut.
Ben disagrees.
Oh, Nia, what have you got there?
Ooh, a 911.
A brown.
Oh, hang on.
I need to talk so that Johnny can see me. Is that the right shade?
I can see it. Yeah, that's very close near. In direct sunlight, does it look slightly golden on the edges? I'm hoping it does.
Oh, he's got to get. He's got to get now.
It's going to get a torch. Is he
you
going to get it? Yeah. It's like a half house. Can you hold them both up just so I can admire them? This is like a die-cast show and shine.
Don't get Ian involved.
Loving
Then.
it.
Whatever you do, Ian's just
sweet,
ready to pounce.
Sweet.
I've got my toy collection ready. He said toy collection cards. Got it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Ian's going to win. Ian's going to win any kind of model vehicle contest, isn't he?
Yeah.
Can I just say he's won the background contest?
I kind of think one week we should like have a picture, even if it's not our own picture of our first car. Just an idea.
That's a really good idea.
I don't think I've got any pictures of my old Fiat.
Well, then you can find one online.
well.
But if you have your own, great. But you find one online, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'm trying to be like Ian.
This is actually Taz's. You can see it's got Tazina Kahn. You see.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Nice.
So I bought her a Lotus for her 30th birthday, which meant me getting back an artwork that I sold to somebody else. So this is her birthday present, one of my own artworks.
You're so generous. You're so lovely.
You bought back one of your own art.
Well, I didn't buy. I actually
that's commitment.
Because the owner of this Lotus had sold it, so they had the artwork in their house, but not the car. So I then painted their new Aston Martin and got this artwork back. But I had to change the number plate, so the number plate is the car.
That's brilliant.
That's a couple goals right there, isn't it? Well done. Okay, so a few more questions to go. Land Rover is better than Jeep.
Better again. Cruel. Damien.
Better, yeah. No, I like the way.
We're biased.
See, some people are not committing quite yet. Nia has gone no. LA's gone no. Everyone else seems to be green. Alan's gone no, and Johnny's gone yes.
What did Rob say?
I've got. I'm going to say. I'm going to say that possibly, controversially, Jeep probably has a better understanding of its customers at this moment in time, which people might not expect me to say. And that's only because the new Defender should have been the Disco 6. There's no way the Disco 5 should exist with the new Defender as it is, because nobody really likes the Discovery 5. It desperately needs to be rebodied. It's true. Underpinnings are fine. But nobody really likes it. So why didn't they just call it the Disco 6 and then bring out a more utilitarian Defender that was cheaper, not starting at 45 grand? And now I'll sit down and I'll be quiet.
No. So you feel that Jeep are actually doing that well? They're catering to that market that you think Land Rover should be doing. Are Land Rover chasing the style over substance crowd a bit too much? Yeah. Okay.
I think Jeep is introducing stuff like the Gladiator in the US. Just because we don't get stuff doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So they are actually following that sort of truck market in the US.
Cool.
Yeah,
An interesting one. That one.
I think there's an automatic prejudice against Jeep in the UK because we're British and Land Rover is a fine brand, and it's got an amazing, heritage. But it doesn't mean to say that everything they do is brilliant. In its entirety, has moved too far luxury, and it needs to rein some of it back. That's my personal opinion.
Perfect.
Although I did drive the new Wrangler and I thought it was a bit shit. So
I loved it.
Balance.
The interior was unforgivable, even for a cheap car. It was still unforgivable.
So Alan, you liked it. Let's see why
I
you liked it.
I loved it but I went in with such incredibly low expectations.
Right.
That everything about it was, hey, it's not shit. Hey,
Is that because of this attitude towards Jeep that a lot of people have? Then is it because Jeeps are seen as a bit of I don't know how to explain it, but not as well put together as
a value.
Nothing is not as well put together as a Land Rover. I think it's I don't know. It was that American car stereotype. I just expected it all to be a bit crap, frankly.
Yeah.
And I absolutely adored it. I had it for a week and I thought it was great. And dodged around the place.
Yeah.
Sorry, anyway.
No, it's right. So the next one is a bit of a
four-door.
No, you're right,
Four-door Wrangler is now cooler than the two-door, I think. Whereas obviously Defender's the other way around and probably always will be. I don't know why. That's why I think.
We could do that as a red-green question then. I'm not sure how familiar people are with the Wranglers, but would you rather have green for four-door or red for two-door?
What about the Wrangler now?
Oh.
Two-door.
Wrangler has to...
And it's a tough one, this, by the way. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm teetering on the edge.
Yeah, I think Rob's... I don't know if he's just hiding because he doesn't like his face or he's gone for both. Okay, cool. All right, next one. So a bit of a different type of car now. So McLaren, as in the McLaren road cars, McLaren is better than Ferrari.
Road cars?
Yeah, just talking road cars. So essentially, you're voting red for Ferrari and green for McLaren. Okay. And the final red-green question for today. I have a favourite mask.
I think I already got one.
Are we all not getting our favourite masks? Yeah, it's like this isn't a situation I ever thought I'd have to be in, where I just go, what's my favourite one?
Can I ask a red-green question?
Go on, Cammie.
Is everyone aware of the new Gordon Murray supercar?
Yes.
Not the question.
Green.
No, so
aware of it.
Green if you think it looks better than the McLaren F1. Red if you prefer the McLaren F1.
I think we need a picture though. Find a picture.
Just hold up something red.
I don't want. I like McLaren.
I think McLaren are great, but I think again they bring out a car too often, and it's not clear on what the differentiation between it, and it ends up being a bit like Russian dolls to people who aren't fully dialed into the brand.
Actually,
and
McLaren aren't involved in this one.
Oh yeah, but going back to the
sorry,
the McLaren
the
Ferrari
McLaren one.
Yeah.
The Gordon Murray question. Yeah, well, I don't actually like the look of the McLaren F1. I'm very much in the minority. I thought the wheels are terrible. And I think the packaging is amazing, but it's not a sexy looking car.
The wheels are terrible.
The wheels are appalling.
They are.
They look like TSW aftermarket CAC. But then it's of its time, isn't it?
Early 90s, yeah.
Yeah. But I just, it visually it doesn't do much for me, but engineering wise, as a piece of packaging, it's stunning.
Yeah.
I wouldn't complain though if I had one. I wouldn't complain if I had one.
I wouldn't, but and I wouldn't. But at the same time, I'm really, really glad that I don't really want to own one, because I know the chances of ever owning something like that are almost impossible. And I'm really pleased that I don't wake up every morning and get pissed off with myself that I can't achieve the cars that I dream about.
Yeah.
And I feel sorry for people that only want cars that are so far out of their orbit that they're never going to get them.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I'm going to stop talking.
I'm just happy to have my Volvo. Just happy to have my Volvo. It's fine. That's great.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that Simon talking?
I was going to say Simon would have
Make good choices, LA. You make fantastic choices. Don't listen to the baldy wonder down the bottom. Don't worry about that.
I love you all. I love you all.
Before we move on, we're just going to have to quickly say goodbye to Craig because I think you've got other engagements to take care of. Do you happen to have a fact for the week or for the month, or it's not really one that I've asked you to prepare for? So no, it's all right. Don't worry.
I haven't got anything, but
message me one, and then I'll say it at the end if you've got time.
If you've got time, Craig. But until next time, buddy, take care. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Thanks, Craig.
Take care, Craig.
The next item on the agenda then is the theme of the month, which although it's been a month, I only actually told you about
COVID.
yeah. I only actually told you guys about a few days ago, or maybe a week at the very most. And the question that I posed to you was, which car do you think has the wrong engine, or something along those lines? What car has the wrong engine? I don't suppose you've had too much time to think about this. Let's go to Joe first of all. Joe, if you had to think about what cars have got the wrong engine.
So I reached for my notepad doesn't mean, you know.
To get the list out, yeah. Just go through Auto Trader, just pointing at them.
I had something really controversial, which I might come back to at the end, but I'll try and pick something different. I'm going to pick the Citroen DS.
But the original DS?
The original.
Yeah.
Because it had so much, you know, strong technology, you know, innovation on it, and then they put a pretty ordinary engine in it. And I think just something exciting about the engine would have just finished the car off to be you know, really quite
smart. You need to be jet engined, really.
Well, yeah.
So there's plenty of people here that will jump on me when I get this wrong. But did the Citroen SM have a Maserati engine? So I got that one right. But the DS had just a plain old engine.
4-cylinder something or other. Yeah.
I think it's the same one that had been in the traction before, so it had been around since the dawn of time, I think.
Okay, good start. So the Citroen DS had the wrong engine. Okay, next one.
DeLorean.
DeLorean.
Well, it's the car. It's the greatest car with the worst engine that I can think of, because it's a car that we all want, but only because of the way it looks. Nobody wants it for the engine. So it's one of those cars where I'd still like to own one, but I would not want that engine in it.
Have you had a go at one?
I just think it is. Yeah, I have driven one, and it was lovely because you were sitting in the car where the windows are only tiny, and you were looking at that dash, and you were escaping just for a minute. But I mean, the engine's just like sub-average, really, for what the car was.
Naomi, you and the rest of the team did a video I commissioned a video about the DeLorean against the Tesla, you were involved in that, and the DeLorean seemed like it was proper slow. Is that right?
It was so slow. It was so thirsty. It was. Although the funniest thing about that was sending Ross, who was driving it, through a toll booth. And he was sat on the wrong side.
Oh right, okay.
It was funny as hell. It was crazy because we had a Tesla Model X, which was bananas, obviously. But I think the conclusion at the end of the day was that the DeLorean had soul, and I suppose it was the car that it was amazing to drive around in, because we drove it around in County Clare on the worst rainy day ever, and it was just the only people outside were farmers. And that was it. And they were watching this Model X and a DeLorean zip by with a load of video crew hanging out the back of it. It was a brilliant day. But yeah, I don't know that car.
Same.
I'm glad. We got absolutely drenched. But it's an amazing looking car. The bodywork is phenomenal. It's just a beautiful thing. Filling it up at a petrol station, you're never on your own. You always have 3 or 4 people coming over to chat about it. But yeah, the engine is quite frightening. I'm sad that I actually didn't drive it myself. I sort of arranged the shoot and then drove a support car, but it's a beautiful thing. But yeah, I don't think it's particularly reliable. This one we had was largely used for weddings, so I think it was quite reliable because it was run all the time. Right. But yeah, but a beautiful thing.
And the video itself ended up getting over 1 million views, and overwhelmingly people were there for the DeLorean.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's no question which is the better car. Tesla did so many fantastic things, but nobody wanted to watch that YouTube video to have a look at the Model X. So yeah, it was a really interesting one.
The ultimate second part to that video is that someone accidentally reverses the Model X into a wall, and then it gets written off, which is really tragic. And then all of the drivetrain goes into the DeLorean, thus making the perfect modern day automobile.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make this happen. How do we make this happen? We just need
that's the reality of it. If an electric DeLorean rolled up, which I know a few have been done, it suddenly makes sense because you don't expect a DeLorean to sound really thunderous. You want it to sound like the future.
Like it's got a nuclear fusion thing.
Absolutely. We tried to get one. I think people were building one in Belfast at the time, and I don't think it was ready. So we ended up with the one we had. But yeah, I completely agree with you. It would be an amazing electric.
Yeah.
I went down to an electric converters the other day, and they were converting a Citroen SM with 10 Tesla batteries into it.
Wow.
What else? They had a TR7. Morgan Plus 4, trying to package batteries into a Morgan Plus 4.
Amazing.
I mean, there's no, Morgans haven't got any space anyway, but they're trying to put 6 Tesla batteries into it. They had a Land Rover there as well. They're doing loads of stuff. It was fascinating how they were doing it.
Now, I think, I can't remember if I've asked you before, but in terms of military vehicles, because a lot of what you do designing military vehicles, I guess you need to be able to refuel these things when you're out in the middle of the desert. And so is electric kind of passing military vehicles by, or is there a lot of thought about alternative fuels generally?
Pure electric's still a little bit problematic for the military, but hybrid is coming. The military is very conservative. They kind of don't like that kind of stuff. But they need the exportable power. There's so much equipment they carry as electric equipment anyway. So essentially what you end up having anyway is essentially a generator that's powering up the batteries, which is powering everything. So it might as well drive it as well.
Yep.
One of the things we've developed, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, is this really cool, it's not a trailer that connects up to basically any old 4x4. You can connect it up to an old Humvee. And it's got its own electric drive. And we connect it up with a patented connection. So we lock out the jackknife. It doesn't jackknife at all.
Yeah.
It can twist like that, and it can bend like that.
Yeah.
It can't bend like that at all. And it has its own steering.
Wow.
It's got its own power, it's got its own steering, and it's all controlled completely automatically. So the driver just drives. And the beauty of it is that you get payload, because it's got its own power to push its own payload. But the real beauty is when you're driving it in reverse, because you can completely forget about the fact that you've got a trailer, because it turns it essentially into a 4-wheel steer 6x6.
It's amazing.
So you can actually slalom the thing backwards and reverse it around corners really easily and that kind of stuff. And that's been initially developed for the military, but I've been saying for a long time that if there's no reason to limit this to the military market. I think there's a big market for something like this in the civilian market, partly because electric cars don't have the towing power. So here you would have an electric trailer which would come with its own power. And also a large part of the regular market for trailers and caravans and that kind of thing is higher market.
Yeah.
So you're not necessarily a professional driver that really knows how to reverse a trailer. Somebody who's only going to use it for a weekend or for a week or a 2-week caravan holiday. And so this would actually get over a lot of those issues as well. So it's one of the things that we're working on at the moment.
That sounds fantastic. I can't wait to see this stuff in action, Neil. You keep teasing us with this stuff.
Yeah, I know.
That's really good. I need a military account, please.
Yeah. We're talking about...
how do I get a military account anyway?
You just need to be like the prince of a country or something. Or is that a different thing? Start a war. a war on petrol.
Do you see? Have you been watching Christmas films already?
Me?
Yeah.
Why was that?
So, it's usually about princes having their own country.
Oh right,
I
I
don't
got
know.
you. Oh yeah, no, that's just like Disney affected my brain. Yeah. Johnny, you're talking about
Love a bit of Disney.
converting electric cars, because the reason you and I probably first kind of ended up on emails together is because of this Enfield. Is it an Enfield?
Yeah.
The flux capacitor, and you managed to get it up to about 1,000 horsepower, was it? I can't remember the exact figures, but you made it the fastest road legal electric vehicle.
Quickest road legal electric car, which I think it still is. Someone asked me this last week, and I mean, it won't be for long if it still is, because there's a couple of pretty good, cars about that are backed by OEMs. But yeah, I think at the moment, I think the street legal record still stands on street tires. And MOT or equivalent of. Yeah, and that was back in 2015, 2016 that I raced that. So a while ago, technologically.
Yeah, but not that long ago.
Car. Good time.
Where is it now? Is it in the?
It's in a museum, actually.
Yeah, I have to go and see it. Yeah. Sorry. Well, anyways, we've got quite far off topic. We were talking about cars with the wrong engines. So
I love getting off topic. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I know. So I'm just aware that some people perhaps have lives in this group. So start to dwindle away, then don't worry. Let's go to Ben next. Ben, you know a lot about cars. Which car has the wrong engine, or which car had the wrong engine?
Oh, well, there's a couple for me. One would be the Mazda RX-8, just because it was so bloody unreliable, and I always wanted one, but I was never wanted to take the risk. And one that I drove more recently, well, several months ago now, the Audi S4 that came with a TDI engine, and I was like, this is meant to be kind of a mid-flagship kind of performance car. And it had a diesel, which was kind of a good idea on paper, but it used to have a supercharged V6 or a V8, and now it's got a diesel with a V6, and I'm like,
is this a case of the watering down of these performance monikers, like the M badge that's now just stuck on? I saw a front wheel drive 2 Series the other day where this M badge was working really hard, bless it, to try and make this car sporty, but it had no chance. Whereas, when I was growing up, M meant that actually a motorsport division has taken on that car. Do you think it's the same with this S4? People want the S version of I mean, you see the SQ3 or SQ5 or whatever, and you just think, well, hang on, do you want S or Q? To me, they're kind of different things. But if that's what the public wants, that's what the manufacturers are going to make and sell, isn't it?
It's a real shame, because it went from being kind of a V8, kind of almost like a German muscle car, but still kind of lukewarm compared to the RS4. But it was more accessible to people, and then they just went, here's a diesel version, which you go, well, I can buy a diesel one with a 2-litre engine and an S-Line badge, but S4 is kind of now lost its meaning a bit, which is a real shame.
Yeah, so, I get that.
Audi S4, like there's no tomorrow.
So more full out. Well, I suppose. Yeah, don't buy one. Alan, what do you reckon?
Well, my original choice has been robbed by the guest. So my backup is the Triumph Stag, of course, because it had such a woefully unreliable, allegedly, engine. And I'm sorry, I had to revert to worst of lists on the internet to find that, and I absolutely hate worst of lists on the internet. So I'm kind of stumped. Please don't ask me to go into too much of defense of that, because I don't really believe it myself.
That's fine. We'll skip over to Simon. Simon, what? To me, you're a classic car guy, but I'm not sure if you've got a classic or a modern. What do you reckon about a vehicle that has the wrong engine?
Well, I thought I'd keep it contemporary by going to 1931. I thought that was. Let's we'll have that. We'll have that straight. So this is just a brief history lesson. This is a 1930 Cadillac, and in fact, I've been holding up both all night. I've actually got two just to compare. There we go. There's nerdetry. Nerdetry. That's not a word.
That's a good word. That's a good word.
Yeah, I love it. Put that in the dictionary. So the reason why I picked this car is this is the first year for Cadillac's V16 engine. It was the first V16 engine put in any car ever, let alone production. It was the largest capacity car at that point, which was 7.7 litres. I think that converts. It was 462 cubic inches, roughly 7.7 litres. Basically, it was done as a marketing and an engineering exercise. And the reason why they wanted to do this, because sales were dwindling. There were lots of other big manufacturers that were competing against Cadillac, and Cadillac were the most expensive car you could buy at that time in the world. They were the most renowned cars you could buy at that time in the world. And they wanted something to show how great they were. So they decided very early on in the mid-20s that there was no replacement for displacement, which is why we have that term now. And basically, so for 1931, they offered a V16 engine with a massive, with a massive capacity. It didn't really go that much faster than its straight 8 comparable model, which was still available. It used an awful lot more fuel. Was horrifically complicated. And in the first 6 months, they sold and built 2,000 cars. Believe it or not, that wasn't very many then, let alone now. That was quite small. And over the next 7 years it was available, they sold around 50 cars, 50 per year.
Oh,
and it started. That's right. It's absolutely true. I read this from an old book about 10 years ago and didn't believe it. And I just double checked the figures. It's absolutely true. There's 50 cars per year. So there's not many left. They ran them up until 1939, 1940. But it started a trend where American buyers thought, whatever the biggest engine is, that's what I want. And that trend has continued and has given American cars and American engines a bit of a bad, name for many reasons, be them right or wrong. But it was that car, that's Genesis, this one, that started the idea that you need big engines to sell cars in numbers. And that's not true. It's never been true. And it was this car that started it. So this car has the wrong engine. Done.
And a lot to answer.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah, great history lesson there. Whoever I go to next is thinking, oh God, I just had a name of a car. That's all I've got. Okay, let's talk to Rob actually, because I put you on a spot here because you've probably not had a chance to think about it, but you've got a nice excuse because your engine blew up in your race car at the start of the season. So if nothing else, you could just say the car that I raced at Silverstone. But do you know of a car that has the wrong engine, Rob?
I've got a few. Obviously,
okay.
F1, obviously, I don't think. Like, I know, obviously, with the emissions and everything, that they've had to the rule changes and everything. So like V12s, V10s, V8s, and now obviously the V6 turbo hybrid. But the main one I know about is the car I drive outside mainly, which is the 1 litre Fiesta EcoBoost 3-cylinder. Which it's a good engine, but Cammie obviously has got the ST, so she's got the 1.6, and I've just obviously got the 1000cc. But there's 3 different models of my car. Like there's the 99 horsepower, the 125 horsepower, and then the 140 horsepower, and then you can level up to Cammie's, which is 183 horsepower. So there's like 4 different different levels of ECU, tuning, mapping, everything like that. But yeah, I don't think my car should have the 3-cylinder. It should have a bit of a bigger engine in it, but it's not the most reliable in the world. But it is. It hasn't let me down yet. But I know a lot of my mates have obviously got the car and they've blew it up, and gearbox is gone, and everything like that is broken on it.
Is it true that I've heard the EcoBoost triple is a bit weak in places, which is a shame because I know it was a war when it first came out.
Somebody told me as well the EcoBoost is a bit vulnerable.
Yeah, it's not racing driver standard.
So your race car's got 1000cc roughly, and so's your road car, but they're obviously completely different.
Yeah.
What horsepower has the F1000 got?
I think mine's pushing about 193.
Okay, so that'd be quite handy in your Fiesta.
But it's got an extra cylinder, so.
Okay.
It's
and
a bit more,
it's just
like less work has to go on in the engine.
And it revs to what?
It can rev anywhere up to about 16,000, but you shouldn't really be revving it that hard because it's more like it is like a dog. The more it barks, it's like not the bite isn't as big. But if you just shift it at 14,000, it will be as as good, if not better.
Just 14.
Just 14.
Yeah, just 14.
No, okay. So it's your
just...
road car, the 99 horsepower one, then?
No, mine's the 125 horsepower one.
Oh, when I was your age, my car had about 60 horsepower. And that
yeah,
was
my dad keeps on saying like, "Oh, I would have been well happy with 120 horsepower," and I'm just like, "It's not powerful enough."
Okay,
it's all down to weight. It's all down to weight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
With my race car, it's 0 to 62.3 seconds. So,
God, I can't
it only weighs like 500 kilos or something. Not even that, I don't think.
Yeah.
410, I think, is the weight limit with driver and car.
So, what is it? 410.
410 kilos.
With the driver, with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rob is tiny.
Crumbs.
I only weigh 60 kilos. So the car's stupidly light.
That is insane, isn't it?
It is literally.
I think you
chassis,
don't. I think
engine.
you weigh. This is your weight. This.
Yeah.
That would slow him down. That would add half a second to lap.
Oh
Very
my
good.
God.
Cool.
That's incredible.
Cammie, let's talk to you then. Have you ever a thought about what car has the wrong engine?
No, Rob ruined it. He said F1. That was what I was
right,
gonna say.
okay.
But
okay.
Jaguar XJ220 should have had a V12, but I think they put a V6 in it.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah.
So that was one that got a lot of people's backs up when it came out. It disappointed a lot of people, I think.
Yeah, people had put money on it and wanted
That's
them.
it, yeah, they invested in it.
Yeah.
I think it was a packaging reason they just couldn't do it.
I suppose it's sort of still broke records and such, so I wouldn't turn one down, of course, but I can imagine you'd be pretty miffed if you were in the market for one. You put your money on it, and then they said, "Oh, by the way, it's got half the engine, but it'll still be quick. It's still fine. It's still fine."
It's a 6R4 though. It's not just it's a 6R4 engine, which
it's still a Metro then.
Metro. But
nothing wrong with a Metro. Nothing wrong with a Metro.
In name, it's a Metro.
You can imagine it in the factory where the guys in the factory are like, "All right, guys. Well, we've got a load of engines, you see, left over. Could you stick him in the Jaguar?"
Do you know what? I always thought Metros were cooler than Minis, but again, I've got quite bad taste. When we were 17 and most of my mates had Minis or Metros, I always thought a well-sorted looking MG Metro, lowered, different arches. Yeah. It looked great. A first-gen MG Metro looked better than a Mini, and I still think. I mean, I stand by that. I think.
Yeah, but my dad had a
Metro.
Metro.
Mini.
He couldn't drive it through puddles because the engine had cut out if it got wet.
Johnny, you
that's
get
a plastic bag over the distributor.
Old school.
Well known issue, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The distributor was right on the front of the engine. Didn't have any moisture shielding. I don't think.
Oh, okay. But being a dad, he also had plenty of Cortinas. That's the law. If you're a dad, you have to have a Cortina.
When you say plenty, what, like one for every day of the week?
Yeah.
So it's broken down. Which Cortina am I going to take as a backup? That's brilliant.
It's brilliant.
It's like a bag for life. It's just a Cortina for life. No, it's like, oh, I'll take the brown one. You're going to spend the brown one.
They're all brown, were they?
Cortina A, Cortina B.
Okay, Ian, then. So have you had a thought about which car has the wrong engine?
Oh, well, yeah, I was going to mention the XJ220. That's now gone.
I'm sorry.
No, but actually, the Morgan 3-wheeler didn't. So now they've got the S&S engine at the front of it. But initially, it was a Harley Davidson engine. But it was something about the engineering because with a bike you sit on top of the engine, but with the Harley, because it was dragging the car, so they had to change the engine to S&S because the Harley engines weren't pulling the Morgan along as should. So that's my other one because the Jaguar was taken. And then also the Chevette, obviously, with a Mazda engine, much better.
So how's that coming along?
Still coming along.
Okay, we'll check in again in about 10 years or so.
It's got less holes in it. It's got less holes.
That's going to be a glorious car. What a great combination.
Yeah, exactly. Like brown Chevette with a Mazda engine. It will be lovely when it's done.
Yeah.
Eventually.
What about the Lotus behind you? Toyota or the Rover engine?
Toyota. I had Rover and Toyota, and honestly, I'd never have the Rover again. The engine did pop on me as I was in a car park, just trundling along, and suddenly I was like, "Well, where's my engine gone?" And the KCF's had just gone. Now I've had enough. And then I had the Toyota, and it just couldn't break it. So I would definitely be an advocate if anyone's thinking about getting a Lotus. And I know it's lovely to have the Rover engine, and that's what it was sort of meant to have. But the Toyota is just so reassuring because you can actually thrash it and not worry. So yeah.
Oh, Damien, you should do a red or green for Lotus Elise or Vauxhall VX220.
Okay, let's have
red for Vauxhall VX220.
Are you going red, Johnny?
I absolutely love the VX. You're going to ban me from this podcast.
Only if it's the turbo.
They've recently shot up in value.
I have to say, when
about $6,000, I was going to buy one. Sorry.
Oh my gosh, when they were new, and I was like, why would you buy a Lotus? Why would you? Because this is like 12p to service at a Vauxhall dealer. It looks just the same, and
it has ABS as well, which is nice for people who are scared of crashing.
Who values safety of some level? No, I mean, I think they're both. I think they're both great, and I think the thing about the Elise is that it's probably dated better visually.
Yeah.
And of course, it's the purest choice because it's the one that the Vauxhall's based on.
And you can get the turbo one,
which is standard.
Originally, before committing to Lotus, I was quite happy to look at Vauxhall as well, even though Lotus is just a few miles that way. I was like, well, it's still a Lotus to me. And like you say, you can get it serviced at the local dealerships, Vauxhall, and really the Rover engine in the Elise was always a bit of a letdown as well. But sorry, Joe, I've just seen a private message.
Whilst that message, what was that message there? What was that?
What was that?
Someone's just flashed up a message on the screen. It made me chuckle.
Joe, if you want to say it out loud, if you want to say it to the whole class, Joe.
There's a reason it's in the chat.
Always the quiet ones, isn't it?
Okay, I'm going to have to Google the back of a Vauxhall VX220.
It has
speaking
one above the other.
Speaking of the back of a VX220, quick story. I got given a VX220 non-turbo to daily for a friend who was moving out of the country and coming back for 3 months. That's the back end of it, Cammie. You found it. That's exactly it.
I'm sorry. I do not look like the back end of a car.
No, Joe was not saying that LA looks like the back end of a VX220.
It's not specific.
Anyway, moving on. Let's go to Naomi before this deteriorates. Naomi, what car has a...
I'm glad that it was brought up earlier on in the conversation, so I don't have to be that person. But I'm going to be the one to talk about electric cars, because as most people on the chat know, I've finally, at last, after working in electric racing for a million years, invested in an electric car myself. And I'm absolutely loving it. Like I don't know why. Well, financially is the only reason why I didn't do it sooner, and I couldn't go back. I honestly couldn't.
Really? Wow.
So yeah, actually, I must say, Johnny, not to just, but I think it was your video. It's the E208 I've bought, and it was your video I watched over and over. So get.
Oh, thank you very much.
It was a fantastic video, and it's a brilliant car. I really adore the car, and it's become, it's just so much fun. But what's been really lovely about it, which I didn't expect, is I wanted to buy a new EV. In my mind, I think most people thinking, well, I should get the latest, like when you buy the newest iteration of an iPod or an iPhone, because you think it's going to give you the best chance of it kind of lasting or whatever. But what the car has given me, which I didn't expect, is an appreciation of the simplicity of an electric car, and a lot of confidence in the simplicity of an electric car. So I'm really interested in electric conversion. I have been previously, but I'm now really considering it quite seriously. And the car I've been thinking about for a long time and always wanted. I tweeted about it the other day, but Steve Brisbane tweeted his Mark 1 TT the other day. Brand new, well, not brand new. But it looks amazing, and I would absolutely love a Mark 1 TT electrified. I don't care if it doesn't need any space in it for anyone except me. I'll fill it with batteries if it needs to be. And I think EV conversion is cool, but open source EV conversion is amazing. And the more I learn about it, the more impressive it is. And I know you've been there, Jonny, to the New Electric, but there's an Irish wing of that in Wexford on the East Coast.
I know,
here.
I need to go there. I was going to go this summer, but obviously the world has changed and I can't. But it was going to be because my New Year's resolution for 2020 was to go to Ireland because I've never been because I'm an idiot. And so I was going to go and see them.
It's not too far from Dublin actually, and but their setup is amazing. I was there when they were they just basically they called it like giving birth to this Lexus. They got a huge hybrid Lexus and electrified it sort of in front of us. It was absolutely incredible. But yeah, so that's my plan. So my short answer is which car is the wrong engine? All of them. But my actual answer is the Mark 1 TT.
Excellent. Thanks for that.
You can buy a Mark 1 TT for like 600 quid with a bad engine.
Exactly.
You need to just buy one and stockpile it because they'll be classic soon.
I'm gonna have to do it. I have to do it.
This is, you've got to get in before Jonny does, because this is what happens with Jonny. He gets these ideas, and then as soon as he finds someone to finance the stuff, it happens. I remember we were talking at one point about the most resilient delivery vehicle for like pizza delivery or something like that. That needs to happen at some point.
that totally needs to happen.
Yeah, we'll look at that. Okay, let's go to Richard next for the car with the wrong engine.
Well, my immediate thought was 914.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
well, that's a nice book you've got there, Richard. What book is that?
It's a book club. Yeah.
Is that the one that available at all good bookshops? Yeah.
Still, yes. 4 years still. It's certainly the 4-cylinder versions. It did have a 6-cylinder, but it was so short-lived and so expensive. It cost the same as an E-Type, so it was very, very expensive. But even the 4-cylinder one, there were about 6 different versions with Europe, America, everywhere else. And by the time it finished, the American versions had bigger displacement but less power because of all the smog stuff.
Okay.
But I would also say the Type 2 we had, that was a 1.6 camper, and it was so slow.
Right.
I think if you have a 2-litre one, they're much faster. But the 1.6, it was a replacement engine, but it was still very, very slow. I mean, it only weighs about 1,300 kilos, but it wasn't fast.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. Okay, so
that's right. They did the 1.7 and 2-litre Type 4. I remember I've nearly bought about 3 914s. I remember when a mint one was 3.5 grand about 20 years ago. Like mint one, like best one in the country, be $4 grand. And now you probably wouldn't get one without an engine or an interior for that. The boat sailed, sadly.
Indeed. What do you think, Richard, about an electric conversion on a 914?
I have seen them done actually, and yeah, I think it would be quite a good idea.
We're going to see a lot of this over the next decade, aren't we? All sorts of things are going to get changed, and it's going to be really interesting to see what gets picked up first and what survives beyond where it might have been thrown in the bin, because you're able to keep it going in a different way. So that's going to be quite interesting. Okay, let's go to Near next. Near, what vehicle or what car has the wrong engine?
I had a bit of trouble with this. I thought of the 914 and I figured I'll leave that one for Richard, and I was right. And I thought maybe kind of Naomi's direction. I was like, maybe Smart Roadster, because it really ought to have been electric and it would be much better if it was electric. And then I thought about an hour before we came on, I really thought of a car. I was like, no, that's the one. That's the right answer. And it's partly along the lines of what Simon was saying as well, because it's a car that actually had an engine that was too big. It's the V8 Lotus Esprit.
Okay.
If there's ever a car that should never have had a V8, it's the Lotus Esprit. It's a 4-cylinder car. It's a light, simple car, and just the idea of just dropping a great big bloody V8 into it, and it didn't even really make it any faster, because the extra 50 horsepower, whatever it was that it had, was all offset by the extra weight. So you've now got an Esprit that's not handling as well, isn't really any quicker than the 4-cylinder turbo was 15, 20 years before it. What was it for? and nobody bought and nobody bought them. So I think it's not just me that thought that.
Yeah, it didn't even sound like a V8
The
either.
V8 Lotus Esprit.
Yeah, excellent. Good call. LA, I think you're the only one who hasn't had a go at this yet. Have you had a thought about any cars that might have the wrong engine?
Yeah, well, you know me, I know nothing about cars. But my initial thought was my dad's Sherpa van.
All right.
They're like what the hell was in that? Like a little moped engine or something? Because every time he floored it, it'd just be screaming. You know, I'm sure it burst my eardrums as a child. Anyway, I'm not picking that. No, I got a bit clever and went the Formula One route actually, and had a bit of a look at some of the teams that struggled with their engines, and came across Prost Peugeot A20 back in the year 2000. It was a V10, but what sort of in inverted commas on this particular website that I found was that it destroyed the team from the inside. So I don't really sort of have a great recollection of what engine goes into what Formula One car at whatever point. But obviously, when a team kind of finishes a season with 0 points, 34 starts and 22 DNFs, then I think it's got the wrong engine.
Oh,
yeah, that would never cut it nowadays, would it? That was kind of okay back in those days.
They should have put a Sherpa engine in it.
Should have
finished.
Should have.
Would have been a bit crap, but it would have finished.
Yeah. Going the other way though about sort of engines, and it always had great promise but never delivered, was my Peugeot 106, which I talk about frequently with much affection. I loved it. And any car, Lotuses or Ferraris, even if a McLaren was existed at the time, I would 100% beat any car off a line. So traffic light, red light, I would beat any car. That car was so lightweight, and the pedals would just respond so fast to you moving your feet that you'd just be off. And it was fantastic. You'd literally just be pinned back in your seat for about 3 or 4 seconds. But then that was it. That's all it gave. And then everyone else was just like that, like meow.
I regularly drive in rural France and can say that this sounds true.
We need to pitch.
Nothing is as quick as a small white Peugeot.
Yeah, small white Peugeot against Rob's F1000 car.
Do you know what? I swear to
if
God,
I can get off the line, it would be good.
If we could set that up, if anyone could just set that up, I would really go for that, because I've got such a fast reaction as well.
You need to drag race. I think you need to drag race.
They do, because Rob's car's not going to do anything for the rest of the year now. Surely, Rob, you mind if we borrow it?
Yeah, I'm up for that, as long as I'm driving.
Don't worry, borrow Rob in the car, and me and somebody's 106. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's see what happens.
Sure, we can find a private road somewhere.
Yeah, we're going to need to. Yeah. But no. So yeah, Rob, you're not racing for the rest of the year. But let's just say that you've won every race you've finished this year, haven't you? So that's one good thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you can't moan at that.
That's
so
impressive.
That is Yeah, it was.
Well,
you say that well. That's impressive. He's going to go and lamp Damien if he keeps on at this rate.
He's done 2 races, but but you got pole by over a second, so I suppose that shows pure class, doesn't it? Anyway, is it F1000 again next year then?
Yeah, so F1000 is the main aim for next year. Obviously, this year, COVID's ruined everything, so it's not really gone our way anyway. And with Silverstone, with the engine blow up there, it messed me up because I've missed half the season. Then Snetterton, obviously, then when the cameras were on, obviously did quite well. And now Silverstone's been cancelled. So, next season is the year, hopefully, where everything will just be settled. The car will be behaving. And that'll, hopefully, I'll keep it on track and get it off the line as well.
Yeah, fingers crossed, bud. Yeah, fingers crossed. And when does I suppose you don't know when the season's going to start, because they're still figuring out this season. But I guess around March, April time is when you. Yeah,
that's when the dates come out. Like, hopefully it doesn't, because this year we weren't meant to have a race in August, and we obviously booked a holiday for August because the champion Sarah said, like, obviously we never race in August, so we booked a holiday, and then like the dates come out and it's in August, and we're like, oh, brilliant. But then obviously COVID kicked in anyway, so then we had to cancel the holiday. But it was just typical. You book a holiday and they've never raced in August before, and then you book one and then they're racing in August. But no, it's cool.
Cool. And Cammie, in terms of esports and sim racing, I guess your seasons just keep rolling on and on. They go on a kind of a quarterly rota, don't they, on iRacing?
Yeah, as lockdown comes around, I just get more competition from the real race drivers going, I'll jump onto the esports and show them how it's done. So it just means I get less chance of winning.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it means more competition for me. I really want Rob to come in, but I don't think Rob's got a PC like gaming. He's on
Yeah,
Xbox,
I'd be rubbish anyway. Like, I'd crash into people left, right, and centre.
I won't make any Snetterton jokes.
Okay, yeah, we won't talk about race three at Snetterton. So you won 2 races, and the third one, you had a bad start, which you've alluded to. You're making your way back up through the field, and there was a nice gap for you, but the guy in front didn't realise you were coming through that gap.
Yeah, it was probably, I'll take the blame for it. Like, obviously the mirrors are so small, you can barely see when they are right directly behind you, you can barely see them anyway. So me going in the inside, and obviously it was a 3-car battle the whole race. It was a 3-car battle. And yeah, I went in the inside, and he obviously tried to get the cut back on the person down that was overtaking him. And I just didn't realise how quickly he was going to come back across, because these cars are so small. The direction change of them, they can just go from straight and then 90-degree left in a matter of seconds, and that's literally what happened. Now Cammie's got it up.
So if it focuses, so this is Rob here, and there was a gap, and then he's just
given a bit of a nudge, haven't you?
Yeah, just a little
upside down.
But Rob, rather than carrying on, because your car was undamaged, but rather than carry on, you actually stopped and made sure Elliot was all right.
Yeah, like the worst thing I would have wanted to see in my rear view mirrors is the car on fire, and then I could have done something to help him, or he could have sustained major injury or something. And obviously what I'd done was made sure he got out of the car and he was unhurt, like didn't break a bone or anything, no bruises. So that's the best thing that I could have done. But if he got set up on fire, then obviously it's not a great look on anyone, is it?
No. It's very noble of you, and I think there was a lot of.
That's really noble of you. Well done.
When there's a really good, you could have become the Snetterton champion that weekend with the 2 race wins, and
well done. I mean, a lot of people would not have done that.
Yeah, he got a round of applause from everybody. Sort of, Damien and I were there watching. Like, everyone was clapping for that. Rob, do you know how expensive the damage was on Elliot's car? Because obviously, you.
I'm not sure, but he wasn't going to be doing Silverstone. I don't know, obviously, the damage of his car, but I can obviously see it. It looks worse than it is, but I think it's 3 corners, a rear wing, exhaust, probably an under tray, and that's about it. But these cars are custom built, so they're going to be quite pricey. I think mine, the damage, like I had a little bit where obviously the wishbones and everything are on my car, that literally minimal damage that happened to my car, that I think that was the best part of 300 and over. So that was, and that's in only like little parts that have been bent. Like, I can still drive it and everything, but that's just parts of the forces being bent. But everything's built in house. That's why, like, it's blood, sweat, and tears for all the parts that are made.
So is it still going to be all right for the drag race against the Peugeot 106?
Oh yeah, my car's fixed now. My car's ready to rock and roll.
That's all we care
about. The crucial race.
It don't matter. You don't have to do it because I'm going to win anyway. So.
Oh yeah.
Johnny, we need
Quicksilver 106.
We need to get that little Enfield back as well. What did it do a quarter mile in? Under 10 seconds, wasn't it?
Bloody do. Yeah, 9.86.
9.86.
130. So not very fast top end, but the first half of the track, it absolutely rips. Yeah.
Can you remember what the 0 to
and
60
of course,
was
that's
on that run?
fairly old tech now. 0 to 60, approximately about 2.5 seconds, something like that.
Yeah, it's going to be a
on
close
street
one with
tires.
these.
I never ran it on slicks. I didn't dare run it
No.
on slicks because I thought it would just exit stage left immediately because it was so short. And I thought I haven't got the money to repair it, so let's just leave it on street tires.
Do you know what? Can I just say though, if we're going to do this race, can I really sort of rock my race suit up and make it like Catwoman or something?
If you
do what you want.
I love the fact that the priorities in this race is just like, it's like I love it. But anyway,
I thought you were going to talk about tires, but you're talking about cat suits.
Well, I'm talking about rubber, right? So there you go.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You see, yeah, I'll wear something. I mean, if I need to, if it makes me quicker, I'll wear it.
I've got my lucky pants that I wear, so they weren't very lucky in the third race, though.
Yeah.
No, they weren't.
Yeah, they're going in the bin now.
Anyway, yeah, we're obviously well over time, as we probably expected we were going to be. So this ZoomZoomers nowadays is a monthly thing, and we're back in lockdown in the UK now, and hopefully it's given people a good way of keeping in touch with everyone else. So originally it was designed so that those of us who used to work a lot together and work on projects, especially in the motoring industry, and work on articles and films together, had a chance to catch up face to face, and it's worked really well. And now that this monthly thing's happening, I think hopefully it'll get us through the winter as well. So the next one, today is the 2nd of November. Next one's the 7th of December. So it's a 5-week gap until the next ZoomZoomers. So hopefully we'll see a lot of you, if not all of you, back again for the next one. We'll have a good think about what the theme is going to be for the next one. Does anyone else fancy doing setting the red-green questions for next time? No,
if you want silly ones, I'll have a go again. But if you want serious ones, then don't.
Okay. Well,
what's that? Say that again,
Naomi.
What's that?
No, I'm happy to help or whatever.
Oh yeah, we'll have a collab. We'll have a collaboration.
We'll have a
thing. How's that?
Yep.
Sounds good to me. I've got a fact if you want one.
Go on, and let's have a fact to end on.
All right, this is an ode to Craig because he has to leave.
Get your fact.
Get the facts in. It's quickie and it's topical. It's full circle, really, talking about Lewis Hamilton and Jacques Villeneuve. So Lewis tied Jacques Villeneuve's record of most wins in his rookie season, which was 4 wins. They both had 4 wins in that first season. And then the year after, they both went on to win their first world championship.
There you go. Wow.
That's it.
Very, very good tie-in between Jacques Villeneuve and Lewis Hamilton.
What does Jacques Villeneuve do now? What's he doing now?
He's commentating a lot at races. You see him in the background a lot, but I think he's still racing. I think.
He did Formula E for a while, which was interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if it's some sort of NASCAR-ish. I can't quite. Sorry, Jacques, if you're watching, because I know that you watch this religiously. And call me. Yeah, I don't know.
LA, I was really, really hoping you would say he just plays panpipes and the ukulele. That's
He's sitting there being a hippie with his legs folded. And
well, here we go. Well, why don't ask everybody what they think Jacques Villeneuve is doing now? Go on, Damien. You're running this show.
What Jacques Villeneuve is doing? Well, I did see that he was doing a bit of with a cold pad. So is he still just like, is he stuck in the 90s? Is that what's happened? Is he just stuck there and he's not letting it go?
He's only on a PS1.
He's on a PS1.
It's strictly PS1.
Yeah. And they've shaved off his bleached spikes, which I'm still sad about.
Oh, of course he has.
I can tell you what I can tell you a bit what he's done. I've just had a quick look.
Oh,
NASCAR.
It is NASCAR, is it?
Yeah. One of my favorite memories of him in Formula E was I ended up in, everyone says working in racing is really exotic and everything. I ended up having a really depressing dinner in a TGI Fridays in, I think, Berlin with a friend of mine. And the only other person in there was Jacques Villeneuve.
Oh. You could have told him it was his birthday, that I brought a cake and
TGI Fridays with no one else apart from Jacques.
And then he went and got a guitar, didn't he?
I bet he did. He said, girls, come over. I'm on a gap year. Let's have a little sing-song.
Fantastic. Well, thanks ever so much, everyone, for coming along. Jonny, thanks ever so much for being our special guest this time around. And thank you to Simon for
thank you for having
throwing
me.
Johnny's name in there. Nice to see Rob back as a honorary Zoomer today as well. Honorary Zoomer. And that's it until next time. So 7th of December, we'll go live at 8 p.m. UK time. So it'll be GMT. For everyone who's watching at the moment on YouTube live, or if you're watching this back, there is an easy subscribe button at the bottom of the screen. I'm pointing that way, but it's probably that way because I always get that bit wrong. But thank you for everyone who's watching along. Please subscribe, and then we'll hope to see you again on the 7th of December. But for now, thanks ever so much and goodbye.
Bye.